Hello, this is Betamax CiT. I've got two quick unboxings to do because I had two components arrive this morning. Unfortunately, I think it's going to be quite a week plus, before the motherboard arrives for the Windows XP machine and the CPU I showed you. But these are two more components that I do need, that I purchased new, and will form part of the build. As I say, the graphics and sound card, hard disks, memory will be from the existing system, but I need to buy some new parts. So I've got a CPU cooler fan and a case to open to have a look at. Okay, so first of all, this is the cooler fan I chose for the CPU. Remembering that this was an OEM CPU, so it only came in the tray. It's an Athlon 2. So I needed to buy a cooler fan for it. This was under £10, which was my target. This was £8.99. It's an Arctic Alpine 64 Pro. It's an AMD only cooler, as you can see. Compatible with everything but the latest A1 chips, I think. So everything up to the latest FX chips, but not including. Let's have a look at it. People are saying that this is a really good silent cooler solution. I actually bought this mainly based on price and the fact it looked like a fairly strong product, but apparently it's also a very good low noise cooler. So if I can build a low noise system, that'd be an absolute bonus, because the problem with the micro server is that it's just not a low noise option. Can't get this box open. Yeah. So let's have a look at it. Okay. So we do have an instruction booklet of some kind. It seems to be telling me to download the other manuals. This manual is all provided in German, French. Yeah. This budget CPU cooler offers standard users enough performance and keeps the noise level at minimum. Okay, fair enough. It's a budget cooler. They do some £30 coolers, so this is not one of them, but that's okay. That's okay, because this is a budget build basically. So there are some instructions, fairly pictorial. Fair enough. Let's have a look. Now the thing about Arctic is that their what's it called? Their thermal paste is actually world renowned, and people like to use the MX2 thermal paste. So I don't know if that translates to their coolers as well, but let's just say it's a brand I've heard of. So that's another reason I went for this as opposed to anything else really. It's supposed to come with some pre-installed thermal paste, but I think it's just being exposed because it's come out without the plastic cover. So bear with me, I'm going to put the plastic cover back on because we're not ready to use the thermal paste just yet. No, it's not playing ball, but there we are. There we are. Okay, it's an interesting fan, isn't it? Because it's got exposed blades, but if you think about it, in a tower configuration, it kind of makes sense, because if all the air is blown to the side of the case, it's not going to be giving the best airflow, so it is open, which I think is quite interesting, but I think it will be quite good as well. It's low speed fans, 500 to 2000 RPM, it is speed sensitive, and it is a 4-pin connector actually, so fair play to them. They have provided an appropriate connector for a speed sensing fan, so let's hope that that helps somewhat. Quite a beast. I'm surprised that such a small CPU requires such a fan, but unfortunately AMD is having a bit of a reputation for needing a lot of cooling because they run hot. Small CPU, large heatsink area though. And yeah, a large fan. Apparently this is the norm. Not what the stock AMD cooler has. It's one straight piece of metal. If you see that bottom part, I think it's just one straight piece of metal all the way up, but this seems to be what most CPU cooler manufacturers think is appropriate for one of these. So there it is. I have one that's appropriate for one of these. Let's see how it does. So that's that for now. Just putting it back in the box. Really is large. I'm surprised at that. The size of the whole box. It literally is the size of that box. Wow. Not put it together properly yet. Sorry, it's very boring seeing me put things back in the box, isn't it? But there we are. There's life. It's got fiddly little side tabs. Okay, so that's the CPU cooler fan. I think that'll do the job very well. Should do. And then we have the case, which is a budget case. I won't make any bones about it, but I wanted to find a. They both got dents in both sides, so you'll just have to see the side with the dent in, I think. It's a micro ATX case, so I think this is kind of a modern equivalent to what we used to call a mini tower in the AT days. I have my packing slip here from Scan, who were slightly quicker on delivery than Amazon, which is the only reason I really went with them for it. Yeah, just a dispatch note, but it was about £30.50 all in, including shipping. So I chose this case because it's not trying to be anything that it isn't. It's not trying to be clever or fancy. It's just a computer case, and it's not anything more than just a computer case. It's well packed in. It's your polystyrene, almost as if you're getting a new computer system. So I'm just going to empty this out onto the chair. I don't think there's anything else much to it really. Oh, static, nice. Don't think there's anything much to it really. I don't even know if there's any instructions. Let's have a look. So I did actually look at reviews of this case. People have basically said to me that it is what it is. It's actually very well built for the price. It doesn't lack anything. It doesn't have any questionable build quality. It's nothing fancy. It's thin metal, but it's all right. So that kind of fine to me. It's a larger case than I originally wanted. I wanted to go for a mini ITX case. There's a lot of static on there, but the components don't really fit in a mini ITX case very well, especially that CPU cooler. And from what I'm reading, any XP era builds and mini ITX cases really overheat. So all you can put in a mini ITX case for Windows XP is something based on an Intel 945 chipset, and you can't put a graphics card in. So I really didn't want to go for that because it's just horrible, basically. That's what Dell and HP used to do. It's not good. So there is an included power supply. This is the front of the case. I'm not going to take the wrapping off because I'm not installing anything yet, and I'm told that this is a bit of a magnet for fingerprints. So at the top there, you've got two full height 5¼ inch bays. You have got a 3½ inch bay there that's the same colour as the rest of the case, so it's quite transparent really. Power button, quite nice actually. Reset button, hard disk activity light, two USB 2s, headphones and headphones and microphone, sorry. All you really want in a case, as I say. So, let's go and undo the side panel. Normal screws at the back. Comes with a power supply, this one. This is another part of the reason I bought the case. It's cheaper than getting a separate power supply, and apparently it's alright. I'm not expecting great things from it, but I'm not going to be pushing the power supply very hard with the components I have, so it should be fine. Deeply annoying case screws. They're like optical drive based screws. Luckily I've already got the small bit on the screwdriver. Side came off very easily. Simple side panel. That'll be good for the CPU cooler. Now, another reason I went for this case as opposed to some of the others at this range is that they've got very specific little holes for fans, but I'm not intending to put fans in there because I don't think it's needed, so it's going to look really ugly having these holes for specific fans and no fans in them, whereas this has a more generalised ventilation grille, which I think is smarter looking actually. There is some flex in the side panel, but it's not bad. The whole thing is painted. There's no silver on the inside, which is a good sign. As I say, I just want it to do what it does economically, really. That's fine with me. Now, something that I was told, and I'm seeing in evidence here, is that some of the back panels are not the best, and that they're half out when you buy them. Yeah, same thing here. You see that they're snap out and they're half out already, which is not so great, but that's okay. That's the only thing I think. There's a fan included. You see a rear case fan. It's Molex. That's unusual, so it's not going to be very smart, but it's it'll do the job. I'll see if I can kind of find a converter for that. Okay, it's a fan, fair enough. And then we have starter power, 20 plus 4-pin connector. Looks like a floppy disk type connector, and a Molex, so I could plug the fan straight in. We'll have to see. I'd rather it was a smart fan, but I've got a feeling it isn't a smart fan. They've actually provided me with one more back plate here. There's some standoffs and screws attached to the case, and there's actually one more back plate there, which is quite nice. I appreciate that. I could use that one. That's good. Front panel is your normal arrangement. Front USB, reset, HD audio. Well, at least the USB and audio connectors are complete, but you've got your normal mess of cables, which is always a bit of a nightmare to set up, but it's an ATX thing. No cable management at the back, didn't expect any. Yeah, I think it will be fine. It's nothing stunningly amazing, but it's fine. So there's two 5 1/4 inches. Yeah, two 5 1/4 inch slots there. Two 3 1/2 inch slots there. That should be fine. Nothing major. You can take the other side panel off, but I think that the only purpose of that would be to actually access the other side of the drive cages so that you can actually screw them in. There's not really much other purpose. So the fan is, oh, it's a CiT power supply. Well, that's okay. I actually prefer to see that it's made by the brand who makes the case. That's quite good. Better than I expected. There's a power supply there. It's supposedly rated to 500 watts. So I wouldn't want to trust it. But I'm only going to be drawing about 65 watts, 80 watts maybe, out of this anyway. So I don't think there's going to be an issue. All in all, I'm quite pleased with that case. It's a nice design. It's very clean. It's very simple. And that's what I was looking for. Let's see if the build works.